Welcome, everybody, to the introduction to behavioral finance. My name is Dr. Brian Foltis, and it is my pleasure to be giving this introduction into what I believe is the fascinating world of behavioral finance. So, in this first video, we are going to start unpacking the definition of behavioral finance and start learning some of the assumptions on which we had to break down in order to have what we know now as behavioral finance. So if you're ready to go, let's go ahead and get started on the first module. First thing we are going to discuss is we are going to define behavioral finance. So behavioral finance is the study of the effects of psychology on investors and financial markets. Study of the effects of psychology on investors and financial markets. This introduction is going to focus on investors, the effects on investors. We're going to have a separate whole nother section, introduction to behavioral finance on financial markets and efficiency. And that's a whole nother story. But today, that's where we're going. We're going to stay in the investor lane, study of the effects of psychology on investors. So now we're going to mix psychology, real people's decisions, with our financial decisions as well. All right, so that's behavioral finance. First thing we need to lay out, though, in order to get to behavioral finance, we need to talk about where did this all start and what were the foundations of this. So bear with me. We're going to do a little bit of math here in this first section. And so hang tight with me and we're going to make it through. But it's very important to walk you through this process here. But before we do, we're going to define here what neoclassical economists, so neoclassical economics here, in neoclassical economics, and we also say in neoclassical finance, a lot of our models and all of our foundational pricing and anything we try to model or analyze was built on this neoclassical economics, which define all individuals under this umbrella, which we call Homo economicus. Homo economicus, all individuals reflect this. And we have to make some assumptions for these models. But the assumptions that we make are threefold. So we have three assumptions around this person here, which we claim are all individuals. All individuals always act fully rational at all times. Number one is these individuals act fully rational at all times. Always. All times. We never deviate. We always make the sound decision. We will be fully rational. Now, how many of you are sitting here going, oh yeah, that's me. I'm fully rational. I always think through things. Okay. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. Keep an open mind. But number one is act fully rational. Number two is we maximize our expected utility. Maximize our expected utility. And we're going to come back to this word utility. But we're always going to talk about expected maximizing utility. And we're always going to maximize that. We'll never do suboptimal decisions when it comes to utility here. And firms will maximize profits. So maximize expected utility. Firms maximize profits. Or shareholder wealth is what we define this as here in finance, whether you're teaching corporate finance or international finance, which I do for my day job. Number three is all investors will use all relevant information in their decision making. All relevant information in their decisions. So what that means is, we're going to talk about this later, there are no corners being cut. We're always going to take the full picture, all the information that's possible, and then make the maximizing expected utility, all relevant information in all decisions. All right. So those are the three main assumptions that neoclassical economics believe about all individuals. So we claim it as Homo economicus. Now, first thing is, let's go ahead and we're going to talk about utility. So we're going to double back. We say maximize expected utility. So what does that mean in our world? And the way I like to think about expected utility is is maximizing happiness. So utility is happiness, or otherwise our best well-being. Our being, or we're not going to give up any of our happiness. We're always going to maximize our own personal self-being or our happiness. And with my newly cleaned whiteboard, we're going to take a look at an example using expected value here. We're going to call this EV. And option A, we've got a coin flip. So 50% chance you will win $100, and a 50% chance you lose and gain nothing from this. On the other side, we have a 100% chance you will gain $60. Now, neoclassical economics says we all act rational all the time. This can be a very simple calculation. We'll take the uncertain option, and we're going to, no matter how many there are, we're going to follow the same process. Here, there are only two options. We're going to multiply the outcome divided by the probability. So 100 times 50% is $50. 0 times 50% is $0. And we add it all up. And our expected value for option A is $50. Similarly, for option B, 100% times 60 makes it nice and simple. $60 is the expected value for option B. And we're expected value maximizers. That's an easy decision. 60 is greater than 50. We don't need to think about anything more. And so if we keep these three assumptions, we can live in this model all day. And many times we actually do. If you're in my corporate finance class or our investments or international finance, we can use these quite a bit. But we also have to lean into these three assumptions that we're all perfectly rational. And so if we want to take a little sidebar here, we'll say, hey, what's the point of indifference? So what is our certainty equivalent? So CE is our certainty equivalent. And it says, based on this uncertain outcome, what would I need to be certain of in order to make me indifferent between these two options? So here we have an expected value of 50. And in order for us to be indifferent in this certainty area, the expected value needs to be 50. So our certainty equivalent equals $50. We would need a certain amount of $50 in order to be indifferent based on this expected value. Now, we didn't come for this, though. Unfortunately, the story doesn't end here. We are only beginning. So hang with me on the next video. We're going to start off with a game, and we're going to start moving into what people actually really do with their decision making. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks.